Welcome to Beledros Witherbloom. As far as our opening hand goes, yes, this is this is beautiful. We're gonna keep on this one. If you ask me, what would be the ideal opening hand for Beledros, it would definitely be this. It would be 3 lands, an Enchantress card draw piece, an extra land drop piece, and a tutor and a finishing piece. So this is this is good. We will take it, and we're playing against Treva or Treva, which we've got some dragon versus dragon, so that should be pretty fun. I'm just going to lead off with Bayou, and then, yeah, anything else? I think we're simply just going to go and pass turn over to our opponent. We're playing Beledros Witherbloom. Flying at the beginning of each upkeep, create a 1/1 black and green pest token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. Then for a 10 life activation, which if you're new to the channel, if you haven't seen my videos, I love paying life to get resources. It's one of the best things you can be doing in Magic. Pay 10 life, untap all lanes you control, activate this only once each turn. Now, if you're coming to this video to, potentially build Beledros, I will say this, is that if you can get Beledros to come back on the battlefield, it's a brand new card, so it doesn't care if you already activated it last turn. So that's just something to keep in mind. Let's go and lead off with Forest. Let's go for a Grothian Enchantress. Yeah, I like this. I kind of like where we're headed. It's getting Grothian Enchantress on the battlefield. We do have Worldly Tutor, and one of the main reasons we do have Worldly Tutor in here is to find one of our Enchantress pieces. And so let's just kind of see what we draw into. We've kind of got some stuff that we can work with, and so we don't necessarily have to burn it just yet. So that's why we didn't go for it on turn 1. Then anything else pass the turn to our opponent. I'm playing against Treva, the Renewer. Flying. Whenever Treva deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 3. If you do, choose a color. Then you gain 1 life for each permanent of that color. So I'm definitely excited to see what our opponents got going on their side of the battlefield. I've never played against Treva. In fact, I don't even know if that's the way. I didn't know this was a Magic card until it popped up. Like, hadn't seen it. So, definitely excited to see what our opponents got going on. It's always fun to play against life gain decks. It's kind of like this weird race to the top, and you're also trying to make sure they don't run up the stairs too quickly and gain that much life before you can pull them down the stairs. I don't know. It's just some good Magic. So let's do this. Let's go and lead off with Azusa. Yeah, kind of like that. So let's lead off with Swamp. Let's go with Azusa. And what this is going to allow us to do is this is going to allow us to get Azusa on the battlefield. We're able to go for the Command Tower activation. We can go for Rancor at this point just to get an extra card draw, or we can go for Worldly Tutor and grab one of our Enchantress pieces next turn. So let's see. So anything else? Yeah, I think at this point, what we want to try to do is get as much value as possible. Let's go and let a Grothian Enchantress swing in for 0. She doesn't get to attack a lot, so the coast is clear. We're going to go and send her in for 1 to send a message to our opponent. And then anything else, pass it back over there. So I think, yeah, now that I think about it, I think with Worldly Tutor, what we're probably going to do is end up grabbing Eidolon of Blossoms, because that's going to be a card draw from a Grothian Enchantress and also be a card draw whenever she enters the battlefield too. So that's going to give us that option to get double card draw, which is exactly where we want to be. So we did cover both commanders. So give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you're not sure which college to go to for Strixhaven, visit my bit.ly link, bit.ly/JoltMTG, when you're trying to figure out which commander cards to get. It'll help support the channel, and it costs you nothing. Also, let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. If you're coming here from Arena and you want to play traditional commander, not Brawl, Magic Online or MTGOTraders is going to be just like a local card store for you. So you can hit them up and get different things. What card is this? Can't be counter, protection from blue and black. Okay, all right, so we got a 3/3 with protection over there. And yeah, let's go for this Worldly Tutor. I like getting Eidolon of Blossoms on top because, if you haven't noticed, this is, you see Enchantress out there, and I'm talking about Eidolon of Blossoms. This is an Enchantress build. And so I'll explain here in a little bit why it's so important to get some of that extra value, those card draw pieces going. So let's go for Worldly Tutor. And hopefully, especially with the Azusa on the battlefield, if we can get some card draw, get those enchantments going, and get those land drops, we'll be in a very good spot. So let's grab a Grothian, let's grab Eidolon of Blossoms. That's going to go on top, and then that's going to be our card draw for the turn. So I think that'll work out. So let's go for that. Let's get Eidolon onto the battlefield. We're going to keep our fingers crossed that we do run into another land, because that does allow us to go for Rancor, which is going to be very good for us. So let's get Eidolon of Blossoms on the battlefield. That's going to be Exsanguinate, okay? And then whenever Eidolon enters, we're going to get that additional card draw. So at this point, we're just looking for Forest. All right, so we run into Fortitude. Anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn. So let's go and swing in with Zuza. We're going to be able to get in for 1, knock them down to 27. And now that there's creatures on the battlefield, just in case we need to block, we're just going to go and leave a Growthian Enchantress up. And that way, she can hold down the fort if we need to. So swing in for 1, knock them down to 27, and then we will pass the turn. But yeah, be sure to check out MTGOTraders if you want to play Commander online. And also, let's give a quick shout out to ingaming.com if you're in the market for a playmat for your next web game. Hey, they've got you covered. Get 10% off. And I started a Patreon, so if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home, it is officially free time. Let's have some fun. Now, let's talk about Beledros. So now, what are we actually doing with this deck? Now, if you've seen Gitrog Hypnotoad before, and that is going to be Beast Within on Enchantress. Yeah, that's fine. Definitely want to deal with one of those pieces. Since we do have a 3/3 token now, that is something. We'll definitely take that. That kind of gives us the option of kind of building in some sort of pseudo Enchantress piece onto once we get Rancor on there, and then that'll be pretty good. So let's see what we run into for the turn. Definitely want to make sure that we Ancestral Mask. Okay, so let's go Rancor onto Beast Token. And this is one of the fun things about a deck like this is that we're using Beledros as kind of like a value engine piece to kind of get some untaps, and we'll explain why I made this Enchantress here in a second. And so that's going to be Burgeoning. Yeah, I like Burgeoning. So let's go Burgeoning. That's going to be another card draw. That's going to be Oracle, okay? And we can still end up going for Fortitude onto Beast Token. So let's go and do that. And this is one of the fun things about Enchantress is that, you know, if we can get Beledros on the battlefield, get all this stuff on there, awesome. But you can see that after all that card draw, we're not hitting our lands out of a 38 land deck. So hopefully we'll be getting some lands sometime soon. And then anything else, let's go and pass the turn. We can swing in for a 5/3. And the good thing is that we will get Rancor back for next turn to get that card draw going. So I think we're good with this. Let's go and push in. We can sacrifice a forest if we wanted to regenerate it. But at this point, if we're going to make a trade with state, yeah, okay, I like this. So we're going to drop it into 22, and then anything else, let's go and pass the turn. But yeah, as far as the Enchantress build, you know, one of the reasons I did take this in kind of an Enchantress build is, you know, one of the ways that you can take advantage of Beledros and tapping all of your lands for only, you know, 10 life is that there are a lot of enchant land cards out there. You know, you have Wild Growth. There's one at the 2-drop, like Wolf Willow Haven. There's different things that you can not equip it, but, you know, put that aura onto your land and have it tap down for extra mana. And so there's a lot of times where with an Enchantress piece, you know, you just kind of run out of gas. You can see last turn, that's kind of what happened. We had Rancor, we had Fortitude, but we also had Ancestral Mask, which could have kind of kept that card draw chain going. So, with Beledros, that gives us the option to where if we're trying to get the, you know, card draw train going with our Enchantress pieces, then we can pay that 10 life, untap, end up with a very sizable creature. In fact, next turn, once we get Ancestral Mask onto Beast Token, that's going to be pretty much where we're headed. Now, we kind of have an option for next turn. We can Demonic Tutor. But I think if we just go Ancestral Mask, we can keep our fingers crossed that we either A, run into another Enchantress piece or something to kind of keep that card draw going. And then we can go for Demonic Tutor with like, I think Whip Silk. Might end up doing that. But at least getting Ancestral Mask onto Beast, that does sound like a... Oh, there we go. We hit the lane drop for the turn. So let's get Swamp onto the battlefield. I think that if we're going full throttle on Beast Token, we've got some time. So we need to get some protection. So let's do this. So let's go Demonic Tutor. We're going to grab ourselves Swiftfoot Boots on this. Because even if our life total does get low, we've got 2 of our payoff cards. So it's not like we have to sink all of our mana into a Torment of Hellfire Exsanguinate. So let's find those Swiftfoot Boots. Let's grab those boots. Let's get the boots on the battlefield. Get it onto that Beast Token. That's going to be a 5/3. And I think at this point, since there's a 2/2 out there and Sables out there, I think we're just going to hold up. So let's get this the boots onto Beast Token. It's going to give it hexproof, and then anything else, we're just going to pass the turn. So next turn, we do have Ancestral Mask. We might end up going for Oracle because, you know, we haven't been really hitting our land drops like we should. So hopefully there's a few more kind of distributed on top of our library that we can kind of chain through. And so we'll see if we can't kind of get a little extra value with Oracle. But you know, this is kind of where you want to arrive when you're getting to the Beledros point. You know, you get down Beledros, you're going to get those extra pest tokens every single turn, and then you just have this enabler. It's going to allow you to do some pretty busted stuff. Did they okay, they grabbed Painter's Servant. Did they have Mind Stone? Let's see. All right, so it's going to be Lightning Greaves. And if they've got Mind Stone, they've got it. Yeah, because the Painter Servant came down, because I just now had a chance to look at what Tribute Mage grabbed. So let's let's see what this is going to be, if they have the payoff, because I think it's 2 for Mind Stone, and then, okay, that's going to be Windfall. All right, we're actually pretty good with that. They've got 3 cards, so we're going to be drawn back into 4. So now the race is on. That's kind of where we're headed. And we did run into Vampiric Tutor, which is a good option. So with Azusa, we're going to be able to play 2 extra lands. We're going to be able to dump out Twilight Mire. During our upkeep, we're going to be able to go for Vampiric Tutor. And we'll see exactly what we want to grab with Vampiric Tutor. I will say this, it's probably going to be good that, yeah, let's do this. So let's drop in Marsh Flats. And then we're going to be able to at least grab one of our fetch lands and not worry about us drawing into that fetch land. But yeah, with Vampiric Tutor, it's going to be Lightning Greaves onto Painter's Servant. Yeah, they're going to be able to grab that. So we're kind of in a weird spot right now. I don't really like Painter's Servant hanging around on the battlefield. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, this would be a perfect opportunity for us just to roll out Beledros next turn. So let's go ahead and... Actually, Vampiric Tutor is blue and black. So I think... Either way, we're still going to go for that crack. But yeah, with them having this board state with Sable out there and only having 3 cards in the hand, I really do think Toxic Deluge is going to be our option on this one. So let's end up going for that. So because we can still end up getting Swiftfoot Boots on the Beledros potentially, depending on what we hit. So let's go and crack Marsh Flats. And let's go and grab ourselves, just so we're not paying life, we're just going to go and grab Swamp, have that come into play untapped. Let's go for Vampiric Tutor. And I think we do need to hit the reset button, because if they have Mind Stone and they get Painter's Servant online, that is just not going to be good for us. So let's go Vampiric Tutor, and let's find Toxic Deluge with all of the cards being different colors. It's a little hard to kind of see what's going on. So there we go, we did find it. So let's get back to our draw step. We're going to draw into Toxic Deluge, just get our land drops going for the turn first, so we don't do that. Twilight Mire. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're actually going to have just enough next turn to go for Beledros and the Equip, which is going to be a good thing for us. Okay, so yeah, let's do this. So let's just go and push in with as much combat damage as possible. I kind of like this. So let's go and swing in. We got a 1, 2, and a 5, 3. And actually what we can do is we can Toxic for 3. And here's another, we might get Ranker back, so we can actually maybe kind of cash in an extra card draw too. So let's just kind of see how this shakes out. So we've got Toxic for 3. If we go for Beledros, we can untap the lands and maybe kind of figure something out. Yeah, let's just kind of see what's going on with this, with how they decide to block. All right, so we're going to get that extra damage coming across. It's going to put our opponent down to 20. It's going to be Fortitude. So we're going to be able to return those back to the hand. And yeah, I kind of like this. So we go for Beledros. Okay, so yeah, I kind of like this. So we end up going, that's going to do 1, 2, and we're going to leave up as much green mana as possible. But I think we've kind of got a pretty good option on this. So let's get Beledros on the battlefield. Our opponent is shields down, so we don't have to worry about Swiftfoot Boots. So let's go Swiftfoot Boots onto Beledros. We can pay that 10 life to untap. That's going to put us down to 14. Oh, look at this. This is just beautiful. Let's go Ranker onto Beledros. And actually, we probably could have done this main phase, but since it's kind of the first time I'm playing with it, the line of play didn't really pop in my head. So if I'm kind of doing this out of order, it's because I'm kind of new to it. Well, I am new to the commander. It's like my brain doesn't look for those lines of play, but I think we're actually getting a pretty good spot. So let's go for Fortitude onto Beledros. It's going to be, and let's do this. So let's go Swamp, tap down Twilight Mire to add double green. It's going to be Blighted Woodland. So let's go for Fortitude onto Beledros. That's going to be an extra card draw. That's going to be 1 Power Stone, okay. And we're in a good spot with Beledros because we do have protection now. Let's go for Seal of Primordium. This will get us that card draw, and that's going to be just enough for Toxic Deluge. All right, oh, and then we do run into Animate Dead. which will allow us to get an additional card draw if we wanted to, but I think at this point, we'll just hold on to that. So let's go Toxic Deluge. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. And what we're going to do is we're going to pay 3 life on this one because that's going to get rid of their entire board state. Unfortunately, it will get rid of our Enchantress piece, but at this point, we're going to be able to get these pest tokens, which is a pretty good option for us. So let's go for this Toxic Deluge. That's going to leave them out there. And I think at this point, we're just going to leave up Seal of Primordium. I kind of like that. So anything else past the turn. Now, we do have Animate Dead. So what we can do is we can Animate Dead on Eidolon and Blossoms. That'll be our other card draw piece. And then we'll kind of get something going. So one of the things that we do want to find now is some sort of, just kind of extra Voltron piece. We want to get the power and toughness going up on our commander. This is a good spot to be late in a game with an Enchantress deck like this, is because we do have Swiftfoot Boots on there, so they almost need to go board wipe or bust. And if they do end up going board wipe or bust, we can still get down Beledros and get these pest tokens going. Put all creatures on the bottom of their owner's libraries. All right, that is an answer. All right, so let's go ahead and put them on the battlefield in any order. And then the good thing is that we still get these back. And we're still going to leave up Seal of Primordium. We can go Seal of Primordium on Lightning Greaves, but I think we're just going to wait. Just kind of see if something else kind of comes out there. It was a little scary seeing that Painter Servant come down, so we want to make sure we don't lose to any sort of combos like that. Yeah, let's get the party started. So let's go for Animate Dead on Eidolon of Blossoms. Yeah, I like that. So it's going to be in the tap down black. So we're going to get Eidolon of Blossoms on the battlefield. And if we wanted to, if we had more life, we could have Animated Dead on Beledros at one point, sending it back to the graveyard. But, this is where you want to be. Get this card draw going. So that's going to be Misty. Let's make the, let's go for Courser of Crewfix. That's going to be green. Tap down for one more, because that is an enchantment. So that'll give us an additional card draw. All right, so this is Bloodstained Mire that we drew into. Let's go and make the land draw for the turn. That's going to be Bloodstained Mire. That's going to be an extra life gain, and that does help us out getting this life gain. Now, we're at a point to where, yeah, kind of like getting boots onto Courser. We want to have some sort of protecting piece. Yeah, I mean, we could try to go Beledros, but at this point, we just need to get the card draw going. So let's go and crack Bloodstained Mire. And we are stuck on Overgrown Tomb. So yeah, we're going to have to shock this one in. Let's go for Rancor onto, we're still going to get that extra life gain, which is not too bad. So let's go for Rancor. Oh, and actually we do have Enchantress Presence on top of our library. You know what? I think what we're going to do on this one is let's just do this. Let's go for Worn Power Stone, because we've got our Enchantress piece protected right now with Swiftfoot Boots. So let's do this. So let's get Worn Power Stone on the battlefield. We get that down. Next turn we're going to draw into Enchantress Presence, and then we can end up going for Fortitude and Rancor. Now, one thing that you do want to include in an Enchantress build is recurring pieces. You can definitely see how nice it's been to have Fortitude and Rancor come back to our hand whenever our creature is put away. So, if you're thinking about building Enchantress, even if you're not building Enchantress with Beledros, one of the things that you do want to keep in mind is you want to have something that you can kind of cantrip. You want to have something that you can still kind of keep casting into the late game. And especially with us having Enchantress Presence next turn, that's really going to allow us to get some pretty good card draw going. And then hopefully, maybe our opponent has kind of run out of a little bit of gas. So let's see what they end up rolling out for the turn. Okay, and this is going to be Enlightened Tutor during their main phase. So we will be able to see what they're going to grab. But one of the good things is that it's going to go on top. So at least we're not going to have to worry about anything. It's going to be Teferi's Moat. Choose a color. The good thing is if they do end up going for Moat is that we've got Seal of Primordium to kind of stop that. So it's going to be Eternal Witness. Let's see what they end up grabbing with Eternal Witness. I guess something like Hallowed Burial would be something that we don't want to see them grab, but I mean, it's something that we can kind of dodge. It's going to be Painter's Servant. Okay. So they're going to give us some options. That is interesting that they're going to Eternal Witness on Painter's Servant. So we'll see if they've got the land drop for the turn. Looks like they don't. So we do know Moat's out there, and then that'll put us in a spot to where if we need to crack Seal of Primordium, we can. But at least we're going to be able to untap and get some good stuff moving on our side of the battlefield for next turn. So, especially once you get that Enchantress Presence on the battlefield, it always feels good to get Enchantress value into Enchantress value. So let's go ahead and we know what's on top. That's going to be Spider Umbra. So let's go for Enchantress Presence. And yeah, we want that because that's going to be a pretty good card draw. So let's tap down 1 Power Stone. And the good thing about us having a fetch land is that we can at least kind of shuffle the top part of our library. All right, so it's going to be Swan Song, which is going to give us an extra Voltron piece or some sort of threat. Let's go for Rancor onto... And we're looking at a 6/6, I guess. Yeah, I think we still just kind of keep the value train going on the Courser. So let's tap down for green. And ooh, that's going to be Alpha Authority. Okay, so let's go Spider Umbra on the Courser. That's going to be an additional card draw. We will draw into that Alpha Authority, and that's going to be 3 visits on top. So let's go for Misty. Let's get Misty down. That's going to be an extra life gain. Let's go ahead and crack Misty. That way we can kind of get a little bit better picture of what's on top of our library. Let's grab ourselves a basic forest, and that's going to be another forest on top of our library. So there we go. All right, so get that life gain. That's going to put us back up to 11. And yeah, I think we just still end up going... Yeah, getting that chain going, so let's go for it. It's going to be Fortitude onto Crew Fix. Let's get the top of our library over here. That way we can kind of see what's going on. It's going to be Mana Crypt on top. Let's go for Alpha Authority. And we're going to draw into Mana Crypt, but we don't necessarily need the Mana Crypt mana right now, so I think we're just going to hold off on that. Oh, dang, I meant to put the boots onto bird tokens. A little bit of a misplay on my part. Let's go and swing in for a 5/5. Okay, so we got 5/5 swinging across. We got Haste, Hexproof, Reach, and Trample. We'll see if Eternal Witness is going to jump in front of Courser of Crew Fix, but at least with them being at 18, that's going to give us the opportunity to kind of really start kind of chipping away at their life total. And then, so we can go Mana Crypt into Blighted Woodland, and that's going to give us 2 more basics on the battlefield. They swing in, we can block, so we're looking at 3, 6. So that'll be 4 turns if we lose with the Mana Crypt trigger. And with us making life gain, yeah, I think I kind of like doing that. So let's do it. Let's go. All right, let's get Mana Crypt on the battlefield. Because eventually we just want to get as many lands on the battlefield as possible. So let's go and go for a Blighted Woodland. Let's go and crack Blighted Woodland. It's going to be 1, 2. And that'll give us a fresh draw for next turn. Because Dryad would be nice, but at least getting these lands is... something that'll help us out. So let's go Blighted Woodland. We're going to grab those last 2 forests in our library. Make sure we click on both of them. There we go. Okay, and that'll be 2. Always yield to these life gain triggers. And then anything else, we're going to pass turn. So we do have Temple of Malady on top of our library. So we're going to draw into that next turn. Thankfully, we are at the point now to where we can get Beledros onto the battlefield. We got more than enough mana, and we can really start to get those pest tokens going, especially if our opponent's trying to keep stuff low to the ground and not really swinging in with a bunch of flying creatures. We're going to be able to, maybe get some of these pest tokens to start trading and give us a little bit of extra life. So... And the only downside with Exsanguinate and Torment of Hellfire hitting the bend is that we're going to have to start doing this through some combat damage. So hopefully we can kind of keep the pressure up. Now, if they go for Teferi's Moat, choose a color, without flying, can't attack you. So let's see how they decide to go for Teferi's Moat. Probably going to choose green. And one of the things that we can do is, since we do have a bird token out here, it's not the best bird token, but it's just simply a 2/2. But, being able to swing past Teferi's Moat, that's a pretty good feeling. We can simply just seal a Primordium on Moat and then swing in with the entire crew, which if we end up going for Beledros, I think that's what we need to do, because that's going to at least be 9, that's going to be 11, and we really need to start chipping away at our opponent's life total. So I think that'll be a pretty good bet. So we're going to have Temple of Malady on top of our library. Let's go and choose Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger. Going at 13 with Mana Crypt out there. We're here to have some fun. So let's get this Mana Crypt trigger. We're going to choose Tails on this one. 1 the flip. There we go. Somebody's been praying to the magic gods. Drawn to Temple of Malady. Let's go for... We can still make the land drop with Campus. It's going to enter the battlefield tapped. We go for... Yeah, let's do that. So let's make the land drop. Enters the battlefield tapped. And that's going to be Boar Umbra on top of our library, which is something we definitely want, but we can't draw into it right now. So let's go for our commander. Okay, so we're going to get our commander onto the battlefield. We've got the top of our library right here. They are shields down. Let's go for the boots equip onto Beledros. And before we go to combat, we're going to crack Seal of Primordium. There we go. Targeting that Teferi's Moat. Okay, and then anything else? So if we trade with Eternal Witness, I think I kind of like that because that's going to be 9, 11, that's going to be 12. That'll put them down to 1. Yeah, I actually don't mind doing that. I mean, we could get the card draw going, but at this point, we're just trying to get in, make sure that the coast is clear for us to swing in. So yeah, let's go for it. So we're going to be able to swing in. We're going to sit in the entire crew. That's going to be 6, 8, and that will be 12 coming across, putting them down all the way to 13. I want to make sure that we're not missing any sort of, bonus effects that we could activate. All right, so we're going to see the trade with Eternal Witness on Island of Blossoms. It's going to put them down to 2. So even if they do end up going for Painter's Servant, they're almost going to have some sort of board wipe to kind of stop what we've got going on. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So depending on what they end up going for, we've got more than enough mana, and we do have Swiftfoot Boots. So let's say that they do have a board wipe. It's not that crazy that we can, because I think this will be the 3rd trip of Beledros, so it's going to be 7, 9, that'll be 11. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, so we're at the point now where we have so much mana that we can at least, with them being at 2 life, we can start just recasting our commander and really just kind of keeping the pressure up that way. So let's see what they have for the turn. They did grab Painter's Servant, and they would almost need to have Mind Stone. In fact, let me look up Mind Stone real quick. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up on that one. There we go. We're going to get it. You can definitely see where, running some sort of value piece in addition to the untap all of your lands options going. We do have lands that, we do have enchantments that do target our lands, but unfortunately we didn't run into a lot of those. But, simply just building this kind of good stuff deck alongside with Beledros, using that ability to get some extra value, that's exactly where you want to be. But if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.